Hi again guys, I'm back with another unboxing from my latest order from cubes.com. Here's the last puzzle out of the box, and I know exactly what this one is, and obviously you sent the title so you do too. Wow, this one's quite heavy. Oh. I'm a bit shocked and disappointed right now. Oh no, there they are. I couldn't see those. Phew. Right, so this is a constrained Megaminx. So I don't know if you've seen the blimey, that's stiff. Wow, that really doesn't turn well at all. I don't know if you've seen advertised the new 9cm Megaminx from mf8, but this is based on that. I think this is the entire reason they released the puzzle, because they were making this constrained version anyway, and they thought, hey, let's make a regular Megaminx while we're at it. So yeah, this is a constrained puzzle, which means every face can only rotate a certain amount. It can't go all the way around. You can see the centres. It's got like a blocking mechanism there, so I can turn it. You can see it slides around inside that lane in the centrepiece there. I can turn it to there, but then it reaches the edge there that blocks it, and it can't go any further. Surprisingly, it actually just allowed it to go slightly past, but oh well. And I can also turn it one turn the other way, but that's its entire turning distance, 3 places. Now the way it's set up at the moment, it's yeah, I've got a feeling it's got 3. That's going to need quite a lot of breaking in, I think. Actually, there's a lot of catching. You can probably hear that catching there, and I don't know what exactly is catching actually. Yeah, it's going to need some. It does it on every face, I think. Yeah, wow. I don't know what's catching there, but that really isn't good at all. That's. It's on every face. Like, I hope it's just some flashing, but yeah, I don't want to make it that way now, because that centre is just not actually completely lined up with their face. So they need to. It stops it there, so put it on a bit more, I suppose. But, yeah, so that's got it lined up. I wonder if I pushed it a bit too far the other way at some point. But it's not actually stopping the turns. I'll tell you what, one second, let me just grab my constrained cube and show you what I mean. Okay, so this is one of the Calvin's constrained cubes. Now, it works the same way. You've got kind of blocking mechanisms in the centre, but when I turn to there, it's very obvious immediately. There's a hard stop that makes it very obvious that that turn can't go any further. With this, it just simply doesn't feel like that. It doesn't feel like I've reached a point. Because it's quite stiff anyway. It's not immediately obvious just by feel, rather than look, that you've reached the end of the turn, which is a bit disappointing, to be honest. However, I assume while I'm solving it, I am going to be looking at the puzzle, so hopefully, excuse me, it will become obvious whilst I start solving these things that I have to stop there and I'm not going to break anything. Fingers crossed, eh? Okay, now these things, as you can see, are spare centre caps. It looks like there are 12 of 2 different types. Because it looks at the moment, well, I'm fairly sure that this has got all the same ones in it, so every face can turn to. Oh, and I've just turned it too far. That one. Ah! Corner piece falling apart. I think that's what the catching is. I think it's flashing on those corner pieces. This is, it's pushing part of that corner piece part every time I turn it around, so that's really not good. I might have to disassemble this, to be honest. I don't like doing it, but it's really not turning well right now. Let's see if there's any flashing on there that can be sorted out. But yeah, every face is turning in 3 different positions at the moment. So 1, 2, 3. Some are set. Some are set up in the middle, whereas I'm sure I saw one that was set up. Yeah, there we go. The orange one is set up in a position that's right at the end of the turn, so it can't actually turn clockwise at the moment. It can only turn anti-clockwise. And God, this turning is terrible. It's absolutely awful. Well, all I can say is don't think of getting one of these 90cm Megaminxes for speed cubing, any of the other speed cubes, because this is very disappointing quality right now. I'm not impressed at all with this. I was very excited about this one, but right now I'm quite disappointed. But anyway, so yeah, each centre can turn to 3 positions at the moment, and these centre caps have all different sizes. Let's see how easy it is to pry one off and replace it. Let me just grab a screwdriver. I've got a small screwdriver, and since I've got the green cap out of the box, we'll try and pop the green one off. Yeah, I wasn't actually sure when I placed the order. Oh, that's easy, that's alright then. When I placed the order, whether it's actually going to get these caps with it, because all the original plastic versions came with these. Oh, I see, so there's a, I don't know if you can see that or not, on the interior of the centre cap there's like a notch facing away from me here, and this notch on the little centre cap has to go into that. So if you want to adjust the position, you're going to have to unscrew it and rotate that around, I imagine. But yeah, if I put this one in there, you can see that this piece can now turn to 4 positions. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 instead of just the 3 of the original. And if we swap that 4, yeah, that's nice and easy to replace actually. So that's one good thing about the puzzle. So here's, you can see it's a bigger centre piece, and find the notch which is there, and stick that, if it will go in. There we go. Now it's a constrained 90 Megaminx. It can only turn, well, that's nonsense, it's not 90 degrees at all. It can only turn 1 position, 1 there and 1 there, and again it's kind of become slightly misaligned, which is, I don't know what to make of that. It's actually turning as I turn this face. You can see that the mf8 logo in the centre is actually turning as I turn the face, so that's really not good. Yeah, I'm definitely disappointed with this one at the moment, but this one I was very excited about receiving, but I'm really not happy about the quality of this product at all. Very disappointing from mf8, this one, so far. I mean, I might have to take it apart and see if I can do anything with that. I wonder if now it's out it will just, yeah, just turn into a regular Megaminx now. So let's put the original one back in. There you can see the, actually, yeah, they can see the 3 different size pieces. So you're going to have 12 of, yeah, 12 of each different piece size. So you've got that one that would let you turn 4 places, that one 3, and that one in 2 positions. So the concept is great. I love the idea of this puzzle, but the implementation leaves a lot to be desired right now. So what's happening must be this centre stalk is turning as I'm turning the face, which should be stationary. So perhaps if I tighten the screw up a bit, but the problem is with that, the puzzle is already really tight anyway, so it's not obvious that that's actually going to be very useful. But anyway, let's give this a scramble and give it a go. You never know, with a bit of play and breaking in, it might improve. And that piece there, every time, it's catching so badly. You know what, I'm going to have to disassemble this and see what I can see on the inside. So I'll go away and do that, and I'll come back to you once I've had a little play around with that. Okay, as you can see, I've got it in pieces at the moment. I just wanted to show you a little something with the mechanism, actually. That's quite interesting. You might remember I said there was a notch which is on this piece here. That's the notch that the centre cap notch has to fit into, so it goes in like so onto this piece, and that's what holds it into place. And on the bottom there's kind of like the end of it is sort of, I don't know if you can see that on there or not. It's actually sort of, let me just take the spoon off so you can see better. It's actually sort of like a, shaped like a capital letter D at the end, so it's got a flat side on this side. You can see that the hole it has to go into is kind of D-shaped as well. It's got a flat side on the right of it at the moment. So that's how it determines, that's how this is meant to stay stationary. So I don't know why it wasn't on occasions. I wanted to see if I can get the screw out of there to, it don't want to come out. But what I wanted to do was make sure that that was sitting properly in that hole before I put the screw in. I actually took this out before I took the face off, but it shouldn't be too much of a problem to put it back together. But also, this little centre cap at the bottom, well, centre cap's the wrong word, this little piece at the bottom looks like it will pop out relatively easily. I think I'll need my little spudger tool to do that. My screwdriver won't fit in there. But I could pop that out and turn it around, so I could actually get that notch for the constraining mechanism in different position on the face if I wanted to do so. So that's quite good. That will literally just pop out, turn around and pop back in a different position, so that shouldn't be a problem at all. But yeah, I've got a bunch of the pieces out now, and I'll be honest, I can't see any flashing on them at all, so I can't see why they're catching, which is quite disappointing. You can see it's got torpedoes on them. Oh, it's not, I'm talking nonsense, it's not torpedoes at all, that is it. It's just the way the edge piece sits with the corner pieces. But yeah, I don't know, I can only assume it's minor imperfections on the joins that are catching on each other and not flashing. So at least with flashing I could have cut it off and got it to work, but I don't know what to do to try and fix these. Yeah, very disappointed with this puzzle at the moment, but anyway, I'll get it back together and then we'll give it a scramble and see what we can do with it. Okay then, so it's back together again now. A bit trickier to put together than I expected, actually. It's difficult to get the that D-shaped piece on the centre stalk to stay in the hole, because you've got to have the whole centrepiece assembly all in one place, so you can't like pre-put that in and then screw it in, because the spring tightness and stuff stops it from happening. I did think about trying it without the spring, see if that make any difference, so I might try that at a later date. But yeah, I haven't really been able to do anything with the turning quality. I don't know, I do wonder if some of the centre stalks aren't actually in that D thing, that D seat kind of thing properly. But yeah, this, well, you can hear it's still got that popping sound as pieces go past each other. But anyway, let's give this thing a scramble and see what happens. I mean, if those corners are coming apart slightly, I'll just have to stop whatever turn I'm doing and that side's stiff and reset it. But yeah, I can see why all the sides are stiff now, because it just doesn't quite turn far enough, that side, because it has to be screwed in very tight for that centre stalk to go inside the kind of, I don't know what to call it properly, but that piece that's shaped like a D, that seat, and here we go, that's just falling apart, that corner. It was actually quite tricky to assemble just the layer pieces as well. I couldn't do it with the centerpiece in position. The feet on them and the shape of the pieces is very kind of an obtuse angle, and so that you can see that it's very wide here compared to here. So trying to slide the last edge piece between two corners, I just couldn't do, and the two halves kept coming apart while I was trying to do it. So I ended up having to take the centerpiece back out and screw it in afterwards. But then what I had to do was be very careful to get that D thing lined up the right way. So I remembered which way it needed to go, which basically what I remembered was which face the little notch needed to point to, and then made sure it was there, held it in the notch in place with my small screwdriver while screwing the screw in with my Phillips screwdriver. So yeah, not ideal, but got there in the end. So yeah, what I'm doing is being quite careful about looking at the side I'm turning. What's catching on that one? This one here. That is so bad. That is just awful quality control. That's the problem here. That is, mf8 have had a few issues in the past with releasing not really ready for market puzzles, and I'm afraid to say this is another one. I am not impressed with it. See, the concept is fabulous. I love the idea of this kit and this puzzle, but the execution is very poor. I mean, let's face it, a Megaminx isn't a difficult puzzle to make these days for puzzle manufacturers. Many of them do it, and many of them do it well. I mean, just look how good the really cheap Sheng Xiao Megaminxes are. They turn really well. And mf8, as an experienced manufacturer, should be able to make a Megaminx mechanism that turns well. And this is just ridiculous. You know, with all their experience, the number of puzzles they've made in the past, and it's this bad that the corners and are popping apart as you turn it. That is just horrendous quality control. I'm tempted to try super gluing the separate pieces of the corners together to see if that would make any difference, because obviously what's happening is they're coming apart slightly as they brush against each other, and that's what's causing them to stick. They open up slightly, and that kind of makes them catch. But anyway, I think we can call, oh for God's sake, look at this. I think we can call it, I can't even turn it to that position there. I think we'll call that scrambled. I'll go away. Oh no, we've got a block here that's still sitting solved. Which one's falling apart this time? That one. So what's it catching on? It's always the bottom part of it that gets kind of split apart. So it's it seems to be, oh, I don't know, but look, I can't even, there, thank you. Yeah, that is just, well, I've said it so many times now, but I'm very, very disappointed. I was really excited about this one, and my my excitement has proved to be unwarranted, unfortunately. If it was done well, I think it'd be a lot of fun to solve, but it's going to be very, very frustrating to play with now, I think. So, such a shame. Could have done a lot better, mf8. Anyway, I'll go away, give it a solve, hopefully, and I'll get back to you when I've done so. Okay, so as you can see, the constrained Megaminx is now solved again. A few things to add to what I said earlier about the quality of this. I'm in a puzzle group on Facebook, and somebody else on there received this today and had all the same complaints about this puzzle as I did. And I've been on the Twisty Puzzles forum and mentioned it there, and similar complaints on there from Twisty Puzzling, or R-Line you might know him as. However, I was struggling to make myself play with this because of this terrible turning quality. If you look at the early parts of this video, when I was doing turns, I was getting really loud pops and things as it was turning. I've had people say you need to take it apart and remove the flashing. Now obviously, as you saw earlier in this video, I tried that and there wasn't really anything to remove. However, I don't know what's happened to it. During the breaking in process, it seems to have stopped completely. Towards the end of the solve, I found that the catches were just happening less and less and less, and at the end of the solve, I was just getting the thing where the corners were splitting apart just stopped happening completely, and it's just not happening at all now. So what exactly has broken in and changed, I'm not entirely sure. Somebody on the Facebook group wanted to see the interior mechanism to see what was wrong with the constraining and stuff and the core, so I've taken that apart and took some photos. And the stalk of the centerpiece has some quite significant wear grooves in it, which surprised me because the pieces don't really seem to touch them, but I wonder if that's actually what was happening. For some reason they were catching them at some point, because obviously the something's moving against it at some point, because there's lots of grooves in them. So whether that's part of it, I don't know, but whatever the case is, it is now working fine. It's still quite stiff and tight, but that's necessary because of the way the constraining mechanism works. You have to tighten it up quite significantly. I've tried lubing this with some silicone oil and it hasn't really made a lot of difference. It's a little bit easier to turn, but not a lot. But it's not terrible now, and now that catchiness has gone, its turning is okay. Regarding the constraining, when I said it doesn't have a hard stop, and it, as you can see, it still goes past the point that it should stop. However, now that the catching has gone away, it's easier to tell now when I've reached a point where the turn is blocked. It's not obvious all the time because it's really, you know, there it's just gone too far and now the centre's turning sort of thing. So it does kind of pop back into place. So the spring, I think, as the centre comes back and into the correct position, the spring pushes it back into where it belongs. So even if you do turn it out of the way slightly, it will kind of pop back in at some point. I think that's what happens there. And although it's not a hard stop, you can tell it's a bit more obvious now that I'm not expecting half of the stops to be catches rather than the constraining mechanism, which was what was happening before. Every time it stopped, I thought it was a catch rather than the constraining on it. So yeah, I'm happier now than I was when I opened this a good few hours ago. That's for sure. The solve on this was difficult, but not beyond expectations, so to speak. Having played with a couple of constrained cubes, and I still haven't solved the constrained 90. I still need to go back and work on that one again. I knew this was going to be somewhat challenging. I actually wish it had come with the smallest centres attached rather than the medium ones, because they're going to be the easiest ones. And what I would have done if they were in, I'd have solved it with this, then gradually add a few more of the more difficult centres, and then once I'd reached it with all these medium-sized ones, I would have moved on to these bigger ones that only provide two positions per face, and gradually swapped them in, so like maybe one centre at a time kind of thing, which is probably what I'll do now. I'll just take one out, put one of these in at random and see what happens. And then once I've solved that, do it again with another one sort of thing, gradually, hopefully making it gradually more difficult. That's the plan anyway. So I do like that this comes as a kit form, but these ones are pretty irrelevant now because each one of these is going to make it easier to solve the puzzle, and you know, that kind of seems a bit pointless, but that's just a minor gripe. But yeah, it's a fun puzzle to solve once it started turning okay. I really enjoyed the puzzle solving process. I don't want to give any spoilers away, obviously, but towards the end especially, I had to significantly alter the way I would solve a regular Megaminx. I couldn't do it the way I would normally solve it, and then I was trying to sort of alter the way I'd normally solve it, but still using that same similar kind of process, but just alter it slightly to encompass the constraining of it. But it simply wasn't working. Every time I tried to do that, I was just pushing pieces out that I'd already solved while I put new ones in. So I had to kind of change that. Now, it's not a significant development to the way I've solved this or anything. It's nothing new or groundbreaking, but it's not something I've done before on a Megaminx. So I had to, yeah, like I say, change my way of thinking slightly. But I didn't really have to learn anything new. It's just really just a way of applying it rather than actually learning a new system or anything like that. Just a different way of applying what I already knew, which is something that I really enjoy about a new puzzle anyway, if that's the way it works. So yeah, that's good. So yeah, I think that's about all I can say about this puzzle, guys. I'll leave it there for now. I've waffled on long enough about this one, I think. Thanks very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.